Zionism, the greater of two evils. As I broach the subject of Zionism versus Hamas, two terrorist groups who are guilty of shedding innocent blood, I find that Zionists are actually the antagonist. And while Hamas is certainly not the protagonist, it acts in retaliation to years of dehumanizing, degrading, demoralizing, wicked, evil, and atrocious treatment by the Zionists, whose aim, it seems, is to wipe Palestinians off the face of the earth. Now, there is a very canned and rehearsed set of so-called reasoning and justification by the Zionists, who often claim victimhood, and these United States of America's wickedness in high places that exist within their alliance. It becomes clear that it is almost a requirement that anyone holding any high office or position must be willing and be complicit with the shedding of innocent blood, the apartheid, the annexation that we are witnessing today in Palestine, as verified by this statement made by U.S. President Joe Biden.
That the United States stands with Israel. We will not ever fail to have their back.
I Googled what was Israel called before 1948. The answer, Palestine. As of November 2003, 163 of 196 in the UN voted to have Israel recognized as a country. President Joe Biden is a man who I assess great humanitarian concern to, but he supports Zionist Israel, vowing always to support it no matter what, no matter how much innocent blood is shed, no matter how many families are destroyed, no matter how things necessary to sustain life are held back from Palestinians, no matter how many children are orphaned, no matter how many parents have to bury their children, no matter how many schools, hospitals, residences, stores, properties are obliterated. United States President Joe Biden is seemingly only concerned about if any of the hostages are American, and maybe not so concerned about that. Zionist Israel has the support of the President of these United States of America. Zionist Israel controls so many of the industries that exist in the United States, has infiltrated the U.S. government at the highest levels, including the Supreme Court and Congress, and uses their age-old tactic of calling anyone who opposes them anti-Semitic, haters of Jews, desirous of the death of Jews, and allies of Zionist enemies. Yet, they continue wreaking death and destruction with no accountability. So, two questions. What has Zionist Israel done for these United States of America that these United States of America should be so beholden to Zionist Israel? And two, what does Zionist Israel have on these United States of America? Zionist Israel is meting out the same terror and destruction that Russia is visiting upon Ukraine, and that other countries of dictatorship and authoritarianism around the world are doing. The same way that these United States of America sends aid to certain countries, while other countries like Burkina Faso, Cameroon, the Central African Republic, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Ethiopia, Mali, Mozambique, Nigeria, Senegal, Somalia, South Sudan, and Sudan, wait suffering, hoping, praying that maybe these United States of America can finally look past the color of their skin and recognize their humanity. After all, the descendants of these and other Africans are those who built these United States of America, enslaved, receiving not even so much as a thank you, enduring the Jim Crow era, black codes, lynching, forced labor, having to work for companies without the option to seek work elsewhere, yet incarcerated for vagrancy, if not employed, restricted travel, restricted land ownership, barred from self-employment, abandoned by the government that allowed the states to interpret the Constitution as they saw fit, subjected to redlining, and we are still abandoned today to be prosecuted and sentenced by modern-day overseers via law enforcement, then forced to provide labor free via the penal system. So as we know, these kinds of things, these atrocities have been taking place in Palestine for years, decades, you know. And I think really one of the only reasons that we even know about it is because of the technology that we have now. Everybody has a cell phone, it seems, no matter where they live. And people, you know, tell a story that way. When we were, as a people, enslaved in the United States of America, and during Jim Crow and all the atrocities that continued even after slavery, like lynchings and things like that. Lynchings were not even done, I found out, during slavery. That was something that took place after slavery, and it was a way to control people because because slavery had been abolished. The value that was placed in an African or an African descendant, the money value was gone because that person was now free, and you couldn't sell that person to somebody else, you know, for a certain amount of money. So it didn't mean anything by, you know, they weren't lynching slaves because that was money. But when we were free, you know, we had no value to them. So to lynch us, burn us at the stake or whatever, didn't mean anything to them. And this was done, boy, there's so much we need to talk about, but this was done by the Ku Klux Klan, who got their name from, I think, a Greek word, kukla, right? And it's actually a made-up name. But these were a group of Protestant Christian men who went around killing people, maiming people, terrorizing people because of the color of their skin. And then some of these same men every summer out in the sun trying to get a tan. All right, I'm getting a little bit off course here. Okay, so I just, you know, we don't know about the atrocities that visited African descendants and African slaves because we didn't have the means to tell the story the way that the Palestinians, I'm sure, rely on people to tell it so people can know what they're going through. And I'm glad we have it so that we can understand firsthand, almost, you know, have a look at what they're going through. And this way people can be aware and they can respond. Also, I don't think this is turning out the way Zionist Israel intended to. They've been getting away with terrorizing Palestinians all these years, but now the eyes of the world are on them and are demanding that they stop this genocide, this murder, that they stop it now, stop killing children and families and, you know, older people and men, and stop it, just stop it, because we see what you're doing. You cannot hide it anymore. Was watching a video where Ireland is demanding that the international court hold the Zionists in Israel responsible for the death of children and others in Palestine. So, you know, I know I talk about it a lot, but it's a parallel. As an African descendant, I can see some of the horrors that we went through. No different, no different. I mean, they set us on fire. They beat us to within an inch of our lives. They ripped us apart, had us between horses and ripped our bodies apart so much. And for what? For what? You know what for? Money. Okay, I'm really going to try not to get in that, but the love of money is the root of all evil. I'll get into it a little bit later. I don't want to run out of time. So I'm just going to say to you right now, peace and blessings to all of you. Thank you for spending your time with me. And we'll see you on the next go round. Bye-bye.